Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. I have the XRP chart up here on the hourly, and guys, we're still seeing more of the same pretty flat movement since the beginning of the month, since the beginning of April. We really have just seen XRP doing this kind of a thing, not really anything significant, no highs, nor any lows to really kind of write home about. I mean, we've been maintaining 49.50 cents, give or take, and going up a little higher here or there. We're just waiting for another big move, really, to rock the socks off this chart. So, this is a look on the hourly. If I throw it on the daily, you guys can see that XRP is forming what is looking like this bullish pennant pattern, something that we love seeing on the charts. And it's an ascending triangle as well, which is looking ultimately very, very positive. XRP Crypto here noticing this, okay, he updated his Gaussian channel model down here on October 28th, 2022. He posted this. I stated that XRP is still in the best buying zone in respect to historical data. Now, again, this was from a few months ago. He goes on to say, right now, I can say XRP has closed the first 5D candle above the high end of the Gaussian channel since September of 2021. Moreover, the W pattern is ready and it is in its final formation. So what he is looking at is this pattern here, okay? The W pattern, otherwise known as a double bottom pattern. And guys, we're coming out of that very, very clearly. This has been, what we have been seeing here. He threw it on the 5-day, but I can show you guys this on the weekly. So coming out of this pattern here, we've been seeing those bullish pennant patterns on the micro time frame, but zooming out here, you can see we're reaching this level of resistance, the same level here. And so it is really only a matter of time before we can break out of that and maintain this level. So we really do have to get above 55.8. So let's call it 56 cents. That is former support from down in here, and even wicked down back in June of 2021 and back in July of 2021 in and around here. So you could see wick down into that zone, wick down again before that move up to finish off the bull run, not making any higher highs, and then cascading down throughout 2022. We did wick down again in January of 2022, and now guys, the old support is forming new resistance. So that new resistance, just to recap, I guess, the new resistance did form back in September and October of 2022, and guys, now we're seeing it again. So getting above this level, and I think what's going to happen is if we do get above this level, this could form new support. So the old resistance will then turn again back to new support, and we will be creating a base off that. XRP Crypto is just noticing this here, right? The W pattern is ready, and it is in its final formation. So what happens after this, guys? XRP moves to the upside, and I know I've been gauging the sentiment in the XRP community, and I'm getting it. People are fed up. People are tired. People are just waiting for moon time. But guys, it's all about patience, patience, patience. The good news is that we are likely going to see a bull run, similar to what we saw back during the last bull run, which was a consistent move to the upside since about 2020. So since early 2020 to late 2021, which would bring us to the beer flu lockdowns of March of 2020. And even if you want to assume that that was a black swan, we could assume that the market did bottom here back in early 2019, and it could have started moving to the upside here without this black swan event. So technically, maybe a 3-year bull run, bringing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies up to their all-time highs. So guys, we're just in the beginning of this. So year one of a potential 3 more years for this. Let's call it 2023, 24, and 25. So nowhere near new all-time highs, but the positive news, the market is getting hotter by the day. And of course, we're going to see ebbs and flows in that. And we might see a few months where it's bearish and a few months where it's bullish and all that in between. But that is par for the course. If you cannot stomach it, get out of the crypto market or even just step back a bit from the charts. Don't look at your portfolio so much and, follow the real world utility, follow the news because, the positive news that's coming out is always beneficial to reinforce the thoughts that you might have on the decisions that you've made regarding cryptocurrency investments. Mike Manfield here posting this with regards to a new partnership. Capital Bank Jordan has now tapped Ripple partner Finastra. So they have gone live with Finastra's corporate channels offering as it looks to automate its core processes and enhance its banking services for businesses in Jordan, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. Finastra says the bank will also deploy its trade innovation solution soon. Soon in quotes. We don't know how long that will take, along with other corporate services. Once fully implemented, the vendor says its tech will enable will enable Capital Bank to digitize manual tasks, process lending operations faster and at a lower cost, and offer customers a single point of entry for all corporate services. The Corporate Channel's digital banking platform provides a single portal to unify trade, cash, supply chain finance, lending, and treasury services for corporate clients. Trade Innovation is an end-to-end solution for frictionless trade and supply chain finance, which utilizes straight-through processing, digitalization, and data analytics to evolve along with compliance, customer, and competitive demand. So this sounds as though they're looking to upgrade their entire system, a straight-through process, digitalization, data analytics, everything under the sun, it seems. Up here, lower cost capabilities, process lending. These Middle Eastern banks seem like they are all over it. We know Ripple does have quite a presence in the Middle East already, and so the competitors likely looking to enhance their technology, run on a company that is either RippleNet directly or affiliated with RippleNet. In this case, the Capital Bank of Jordan looking to tap Finastra for their product services. So some great news there. Wanted to thank Mike for posting that. The Cryptic Poet here on Twitter posting some VeChain news, guys, and it feels like the VeChain news is coming out fast and furiously. Here we're seeing the bridging of Web 2 and Web 3 development. There's a growing number of innovations in the VeChain ecosystem at this time, and one of the major ones that was recently unveiled is the launch of the protocol's new white paper. As announced, the new VeChain white paper was launched alongside Boston Consulting Group, and it focuses on the protocol's works on sustainable development. An official comment here from VeChain. We recently launched our new white paper co-developed with BCG, detailing our blockchain biosphere's approach to sustainable development. We're building ecosystems that reward users for their actions. For example, by driving an electric vehicle, you can earn what is likely carbon credits. So this protocol was first launched in 2015 as a private consortium chain working with a host of enterprise to explore blockchain applications. As we can see, this blockchain application specifically has grown, and being a Chinese company, we are seeing this, carbon footprint tracking mechanism, obviously more prevalent in countries like China. As you guys know, I do not agree with this kind of thing, but when you take away the ideology, though, from the tech and the innovation, the type of innovation that this company is building upon, it just opens my eyes to so much more and what this company could be capable of and how much market share they could, in fact, gain from a lot of these initiatives. Some of these new initiatives entail the design and launch of KEP applications that helps facilitate efficiency in several industries. These industries include supply chain, logistics, food, and climate change. VeChain's involvement in these industries speak of sustainable practices, and this remains what is being highlighted in the new white paper. So some more interesting new VeChain development moving towards building Web 3, coming out of Web 2, and now building on the new protocol Web 3, which is going to be the future, guys. Wanted to thank the Cryptic Poet here for posting that. Happen to see this, guys, another one from Mike Manfield. This one has to do with Ripple partner Volopay. There's also a NEOM connection in there as well. Volopay obtains in-principle approval from MAS for Majority Payment Institution License. So this sounds like it is from the Monetary Authority of Singapore. Yeah, down here. Volopay has been granted an in-principle approval for a Majority Payment Institution License from the MAS, the Monetary Authority of Singapore. The payment services offered by Volopay, named account insurance, e-money, domestic money transfer, and cross-border money transfer, will be regulated under the Payment Services Act, launched in 2020. Volopay is also a partner of Visa. So take a look at this. A lot of Ripple connections to this particular story here. So as Mike Manfield pointed out, Volopay is a partner of Ripple and a partner of NEOM. And then within this article here, we know that this has to do with the Monetary Authority of Singapore, which also has a partnership with Ripple. And down here, they're also mentioning Volopay is also a partner of Visa. And we know Visa bought Earthport a few years ago, and Earthport is Ripple enabled. So a lot of Ripple connections to this one. So this centering around Volopay, the IPA is an incredible business outcome that places Volopay in the right direction. Volopay will be able to strengthen its foothold in services in its home city-state of Singapore, one of the fastest growing and most flexible economies in the world, and will be able to maximize its existing services to Singapore-based companies that have a regional presence across the APAC region. Over here, it just states that Volopay did announce a Series A funding round back in early 2022. And then down here, Volopay will continue to adhere to rigorous compliance programs, which includes anti-money laundering, anti-terrorism, finance measures, so on and so forth. So, all these companies, very compliant, and they have to be, if they want to be, in good with the central banks of those particular countries. Sounds like a page out of Ripple's playbook, if I were to be honest. The company currently offers expense management, invoice handling, accounts integration, department-specific project finance management, reimbursements, and corporate cards. The interest-free credit line accessed through this corporate card creates scalable growth opportunities for its clients across the APAC region and the rest of the world. So another opportunity for a burst of utility through Ripple partner Volopay, working in conjunction with the Monetary Authority of Singapore, which is also Ripple friendly. And again, the Visa connection also down here. Visa, a major player in the payment space, as we all know. So great news here. Wanted to thank Mike for posting that. This had to have been some of the best news I've heard all weekend. John Deaton wrote this. Now, we talked a little bit about Hester Peirce in yesterday's video. It was either yesterday's video or Saturday's video. She came out with another dissenting message. The release sends a message that we are uninterested in facilitating innovation and competition in the financial market. She's talking about the Security and Exchange Commission, obviously the organization that she works for, and instead seek to protect incumbents. So she's calling out her own agency. So this is a sitting commissioner, has confirmed what CV Payne and I said months ago on Fox Business News. Do you guys remember what John Deaton said on Fox Business a few months ago?
Oh, the notion that so many people want to see this succeed, again, whether you're an investor or not, I think speaks to the idea of freedom, of innovation, of self-determination. And there are a lot of powerful forces out there that don't want to see that happen.
Absolutely. And what I think what's happening is that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, it's one of the few times in history where the individual kind of front run the industry, if you will, and the hedge funds. And personally, I think the Gensler's attack on crypto is to allow the hedge funds and the Wall Streeters to come in, crash the market. They come in and then
By the way,
promote it.
they do that with the stock market all the time.
So basically stating Gensler and his guys protecting the incumbents, crashing the stock market purposely. Shady things are afoot behind the scenes. Well, Hester Peirce has come out. She came out on April the 14th, rendering innovation kaput, statement on amending the definition of an exchange. And again, very, very critical of her boss, Gary Gensler. Here's what she said. I'm going down in the statement, but I will link this in the description of the video. Down here, she said, while the origin story of regulation ATS is a sound blueprint for how the SEC should handle emerging technologies, today's comment reopener confirms that the commission of that era is a relic of bygone times. As one commenter on the proposal note, this is a tale of two commissions. No longer does this commission consider the real-world effects of its exercise of authority. No longer does the commission think creatively about regulatory alternatives that advance the commission's mission while preserving space for potentially disruptive innovation. No longer does this commission worry that regulatory bullheadedness often produces absurd consequences. Rather, today's commission aggressively expands its regulatory reach to solve problems that do not exist. Today's commission treats its basic approach to exchange regulation as something that must not, indeed cannot, be altered to allow room for new technologies or for new ways of doing business. Today's commission tells entrepreneurs trying to do new things in our markets to come in and register. When entrepreneurs find they cannot, the commission dismisses the possibility of making practical adjustments to our registration framework to help entrepreneurs register and instead rewards their good faith with an enforcement action. Today's commission treats the notice and comment rulemaking process not as a conversation but as a threat. And then she finishes off by saying this, today's comment reopener perfectly captures the Commission's new ways of doing things. Rather than responding to commenters' serious concerns about the breadth, ambiguity, unworkability, and potential disruption of the proposal, the reopener, with few exceptions, doubles down on the defects identified by commenters. We stretch the statutory definition of exchange beyond a reasonable reading to reach a poorly defined set of activities with no evidence that investors will benefit. We do so with an insouciant laugh at the consequences. Even if one grants, for the sake of argument, that this proposed amendment to the definition of an exchange under our rules is within our authority, the Commission's cavalier approach stands in marked contrast to its approach a quarter century ago. I don't know why Hester Peirce hasn't been fired yet, to be honest. The release sends a message that we are uninterested in facilitating innovation and competition in the financial markets and instead seek to protect incumbents. Exactly. Seek to protect incumbents, as John Deaton has mentioned in the past. Accordingly, although I am generally supportive of reopening comment periods where it is clear that the Commission will benefit from further good faith engagement with the public, I cannot support what the Commission is doing in this release. So Hester Peirce coming out with another critical statement here, and John Deaton obviously bringing this point up. They've been saying it for a while, and it has been not lost on the XRP community, I do not think. DJ Peter Vass also bringing this up. So Ripple Boss, aka Brad Garlinghouse, he also came out with his opinion on the latest comments from the SEC's Gary Gensler, and he basically said this. He was responding to what Gensler said. Here was the direct quote: "The laws already exist, or the laws exist already." And he was referring to cryptocurrency laws. They're known as the securities regulation, and so there are no disclosure laws for when any individual tries to lift cash from the general public. But Brad Garlinghouse came out and he basically accused Gensler of behaving like an autocrat, suggesting we won't ever need to present readability on cryptocurrencies. The chief of the blockchain agency at the moment, entangled in a $1.3 billion lawsuit with the SEC, added, without clear jurisdiction, ambiguity masquerades as energy. Now, we heard Brad Garlinghouse, he said that a couple of weeks ago now. Of course, as we know, the SEC has been on a bit of a rampage with their suing of Kraken and their Wells notice for Coinbase, and wasn't Justin Sun arrested? I don't know if that was confirmed or not. But guys, I think more and more people are realizing this has to end. So Elizabeth Warren also posted this yesterday, just yesterday. Public trust in the Supreme Court has already hit historic lows. I won't be surprised if it falls even lower now that we're learning more about Justice Clarence Thomas's undisclosed gifts from a GOP mega donor. Now, John Deaton was not letting her get away with that. And as you guys can see here, John Deaton's tweet has garnered almost as many likes as the original Elizabeth Warren tweet. John Deaton posted, "This is coming from a person who gave Gary Gensler not only the questions, but the suggested answers to those questions before an oversight hearing. You violated your oath and you have become a disgrace. Anyone else would have been fired at their job for doing what you just did." Liking that. I did a video on this when it came out. Do you guys remember this?
Senator Elizabeth Warren and her office coordinated testimony with the Security and Exchange Commission ahead of a Senate hearing. The Heritage Foundation Oversight Project, of which I'm associated, through a FOIA request, obtained emails from Warren's office to the office of Chairman Gary Gensler 2 days before his Senate testimony back in September of 2021. The email from Warren's economic policy advisor includes a list of questions. Get this, a list of questions that Senator Warren planned to ask, along with suggested answers for the chairman of the SEC. The advisor also wrote, quote, "Let me know if you're okay with the questions as currently written." 2 days later, she sent a follow-up, quote, "Let me know if it's looking like the chair has any issue with the framing of the questions. Definitely don't want to put him in a tough spot," end quote. And it appears the chairman didn't have any issue with these questions because Senator Warren asked almost verbatim from the email. Check this out.
Chair Gensler, advocates say crypto markets are all about financial inclusion, but the people who are most economically vulnerable are the ones who are most likely to have to withdraw their money the fastest when the market drops. Does this sound like the path to financial inclusion to you?
And that was just one of the questions. Boy, is this game ever rigged? So I wanted to thank XRP Kicks just for posting that clip. I was trying to look for that, and I'm very happy that was posted directly in this tweet thread. Because, guys, I think what this illustrates is a bigger problem, a problem with government. Clearly, it's not just about cryptocurrency. This is obviously about control. So the best part of this news coming out over the weekend was this tweet here from Warren Davidson. Yep, to correct a long series of abuses, I am introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Security and Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where authority resides. Former chairs of the SEC are ineligible. So boom goes the dynamite coming from Warren Davidson. Of course, we are far, far, far from this. However, introducing legislation is the first step. Basically, what he's saying here is we want to remove the head chair from the SEC and have an executive director report back to the board. And this, from now on, is how we're going to make decisions about matters revolving around securities. And obviously, that would extend to cryptocurrencies. Micah down here saying, finally, you're doing something. Now, let's see if this is the usual BS, political posturing and cheap talk on Twitter, or you will actually do something. We will be waiting. Easier said than done. This has got to go through a lot of approvals, but I do really wonder how many people would be in favor of this versus how many people would not be in favor of it. Obviously, people like Elizabeth Warren, who are part of this rigged game, and it's just so obvious people like this are probably not going to vote in favor for, this proposed legislation change that Warren Davidson is proposing. Nevertheless, I do think there are a lot of people on his side, and I do wonder how that would go. All the money at Real Lisa Daily down here saying, this is what proper oversight of the three branches of government was meant to be. Thank you for your service. Simon Adams down here saying, unfortunately, though, this bill needs to pass the House and Senate and then be signed into law by Biden. So you got to think of that. How likely is that to happen? At the moment, it's nothing but a campaign promise, and we all know how these go. That said, though, guys, there is a new election coming up next year, 2024. And I mean, money is money. That's a bipartisan issue. That really should not have to do with which political party you're with. We do know, though, obviously the well has been poisoned by some rotten apples. So there is a possibility this could in fact occur. I think it's more about power than doing the right thing. So what do you guys think the chances are of Gary Gensler getting fired? Tell me down in the comments what you guys think, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.